Hello, my name's Joe. I'm a Dota coach, and this is a Monkey King Midlane for the Guardian. Oh, thank you. More Barbies.
I'll be with you.
Yeah, okay.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye, thank you. Um, Monkey King Midlane Guardian 3. Um, One of my viewers is interested in understanding maybe when to pick different heroes. So I'm going to do that as well. But we'll talk about how this is a very difficult monkey game for you unless you're maybe position one, and even then, you have to buy a lot of items to be able to actually do anything. So at the point in the draft you chose Monkey King, they were showing I'm pretty sure it was a Tusk and a Silencer, and you had your Willow and your Shadow Demon. Second phase pick, you pick Monkey King and you pick your Axe. If you're planning to go mid lane as a Monkey King, I don't want you picking second phase unless um, you expect them to go a certain mid laner. And even then, it's difficult because Monkey King relies in the mid lane on being able to snowball, or at least as a like reliable climbing hero. So for this hero, either you were running position one from the mid lane because you want levels, or you know what the enemy lane laner is going to be from the draft because they've already picked it. And usually you want to lane against melee mid laners, but most mid laners are either high mobility melee mid laners or they're ranged. And even then, you start to run into these problems once they hit level 6 and they start ganking and you're still farming your eggs. So Monkey King in the mid lane really needs to win his lane, at least for you to reliably climb, unless you are willing to swap with your Luna. But having two position ones in your draft, especially because you are in a queue together, it makes it kind of weird. And the fact that you picked before your Luna and your Luna's safe lane means that even though like he's the higher player, she's the higher player. Um, I don't know. It just seems very difficult, especially because the Luna picked into the bristleback, and in order for Luna actually do something in a team fight, she gets in range of Bristle and then gets slowed. And then if she's bouncing off of the Bristle to try and hit other people, she's hurting your teammates. And she doesn't have enough raw disable to stop Weaver. She doesn't have enough escape to deal with this Tusk. So it can be kind of difficult. I feel like last pick Luna was not the play. And if you had last pick, I don't know what you would go. Honestly, I would have picked Viper on my team because the Nether Toxin plus like any of the disable from your team means that Bristleback dies because it disables his passive, the damage reduction from his passive. So I would have picked Viper from this, and he's a relatively consistent mid laner, even if you're losing your lane. Because you kind of just do damage. As long as they don't chase you down and kill you constantly, Viper can be okay. And if they are just going to chase you down, kind of like what Monkey King wants to do in the lane, you just push the lane out and you leave and you go jungle, or you gank another lane, or you do something like that. And then if the mid laner leaves to go gank, then you just take their tower. If Viper was banned, I probably would have gone maybe something like a DK because your team lacks frontline. Axe doesn't really want to show in lane, even though he's this big scary strength off laner. He wants to be off map and then blink onto somebody, call them, because his survivability mechanic requires him to call in order to stay alive, basically. And if he can't get a call off on somebody because they're initiating on him, then he just kind of dies. So in terms of maybe frontline, an Underlord would be good as an offlaner, but it's not a big deal what your teammates pick. I'm just saying, when you're thinking of people that will frontline, Bristleback, to some extent DK, um, Underlord, these kind of heroes that have passives that gives them damage reduction, or you have heroes that have reliable escape mechanics. Like Weaver can be played in the off lane, same with things like Wind Ranger in certain matchups because they have the ability to escape as long as people don't bring a bunch of heroes, and they have the ability to push the wave with a either a passive or an active or an AoE nuke, something like that, that lets them clear the creep wave and push it in. This is their safe lane Weaver, and you guys don't have enough hard disable to be able to kill him. So it's this Weaver got out of hand, and that's kind of what happened that lost you the game. But when we're looking at the draft and we're trying to say what should I have gone, something that either buys Silver Edge, has magical nukes that doesn't need to rely on being in the backline, that doesn't mind getting initiated by Tusk, that doesn't mind being silenced. I think DK would be really strong against our lineup until this Viper got picked. And then DK kind of just like, oh, my passive's not going to work, and then he just dies. So it's not quite set in stone, but I'm just looking at it and saying Viper first pick, or first choice as the mid laner as last pick, and then they took it. So next choice would be DK, but against Viper that doesn't work. So then it's up to your Luna to carry the game, and Luna's the carry, fine, but you didn't make their job any easier by playing Monkey King. So now let's watch the replay and we'll talk about it. In your question on Reddit, you are wondering about either tips or itemization, and this isn't really the game to look at itemization because it's not normal to pick Monkey King in this situation. He doesn't like being silenced. He doesn't like the break from the Nether Toxin. He doesn't really want to go on Bristleback because he does mostly physical damage. You can kind of build Silver Edge on Monkey King, but it's not great. And then there's the BKB piercing stun from Tusk, as well as the shards that block him in. So if Monkey King ever goes in, he can't get out. And the Viper makes it even worse because Viper Strike is a BKB piercing slow, and Viper's passive reduces your attack speed. And then they have a bunch of slows. They have people that just kind of leave if you use Wukong's command. So it just feels like this isn't the Monkey King game. So we won't really talk too much about itemization, but I'm going to tell you right now that this is not the starting build if you're going to go mid against a Viper. If you were laning against the Silencer, maybe it'd be okay. If you were laning against the Tusk, it'd be great. But against anyone else on the team, maybe Bristleback it would work. But you need to start with Boots. And Boots allows you to take less damage because you're not really going to be trading with them. And you got some tangos here, so that means you can go something like Boots. You would go Boots and either wand components like you have here, or you would go Wraithband components like you have here. Boots is 500, so you'd have 100 left. So I would say Boots plus Ironwood branches, and then your tangos. You could maybe do a Fairy Fire instead, but just going Boots and regen is how you're going to win this lane, because you're not going to be taking Jingu level 1, and you're not going to be maxing Jingu because the ranged hero with the slow and the attack speed reduction means that you don't get enough hits of Jingu off before you take damage. And then if you take Boundless Strike level 1, you get to secure creeps, but because you don't have Jingu, you're not going to be able to get the heal off on there. So you're just going to be kind of passive, and level 1, you're going to be using your Boots to either get a kill at the rune, or you will be blocking creeps and using the Boots to stay outside of the enemy's attack range. But your starting build right now went as if you were laning against either Tusk or Bristleback, and that's not good. I'm going to speed it up here. Do I have your perspective? Player perspective. Okay, planted from behind trees. And then you go sit on the rune. So this is worth 50 gold. Enemies, if they're going to walk up here and grab it, doesn't really matter. The runes at your level, the gold doesn't matter too much. But they are enough to attract people into a particular area so you can either trade regen or get first blood. And right now you don't have a lot of regen, so you don't really want to trade regen. And you didn't pick up boots or even an orb of venom, so now your chances of first blood are really low. So all you can really do is either sit here on this rune or go block your creeps. And against Viper, I would recommend blocking the creeps so that they end up on your high ground. Player perspective, free camera. So that they end up on your high ground right here. So there's a mischance, and he has to walk into the river for you to start, for him to be able to get last hits, or even walk up the high ground so that you can start hitting him to even do anything. The other thing is, if the creeps end up under your tower first, then you don't have to walk up to get last hits. So if he doesn't block correctly and the creeps end up under your tower, you can safely get level 2, take your Jingu, and then start hitting him if you're a level ahead and you have creep advantage. So once the wave pushes into your tower, it will push back even harder, and you will have like 3 or 4 creeps ahead of him. And if he wants to get last hits, he's going to take 3 or 4 stacks of Jingu. So, free camera, player perspective. Sitting on this rune for 30 seconds is a mistake. Because you are sitting here and not with your team, and your team isn't walking down into... I can't draw. Your team isn't walking down into this area to scout. That means your Luna could be faced with 3 or 4 heroes on this side and then take a bunch of damage. And if we look at Luna's items, well, she's starting with 6 tangos, not too big a deal, but this could be a first blood on your carry. So rather than having this guy place a ward in vision where they're just going to deward this later, you could be scouting to see, okay, there's 3 heroes bottom, or there's 2 heroes here, and then your team could be running down this tusk. Like if you had boots, what does Willow have? Willow hasn't skilled anything, that's fine. Axe, normally he did counter helix first. Okay. Normally you take Battle Hunger first, just to harass them early. Six tangos. The other thing that you could be doing is checking people's regen, checking people's items to see kind of what they want to do. Bristleback has no HP regen. Okay. No, Siri. Be quiet. Yeah. If I saw this guy is dead. Level 1 Bristleback's not very strong. He needs enough regen to survive level 1 through 3, and then he dies. Clarity doesn't really help him. He's confused. Okay, player perspective. Back to the Monkey King.
30 seconds to battle.
So yeah, nothing happening, not checking people's regen, just kind of hanging out. And your Doom died. So, whoops. Not looking to see what's going on. Aren't able to help the Tusk because you weren't paying attention. You burned a TP instead of just walking. And then the Viper blocked and you didn't. Now creeps are on the high ground and you have to walk up. He messed up a little bit by standing in vision of the creeps, I think. Something to let you pull that creep back out. This shouldn't happen. He should be able to harass you from back here and not have to worry about it. We're on your perspective, right? I think you hit one of these creeps, and then you have creep advantage, and then you just hit him because you took Jingu instead of Boundless. Ideally, he should have denied that. The other problem with this Viper, he took Poison Attack level 1, and normally what you do is you take another Toxin level 1, and it just shoves the wave under their tower, and then you don't have to worry about Monkey King hitting you a bunch. But for some reason, he took Poison Attack. And the movement slow right now isn't important. It applies magic... What? Applies a stacking movement speed slow and magic resistance deduction. He doesn't have a lot of magic damage right now. Most of the stuff is physical. This doesn't make any sense. The Nether Toxin plus the Poison Attack is what gives him a lot of damage. Very confused. I like that you're creep aggroing. It means that you don't take a much damage from the Viper. You got 280 gold sitting here, and you don't have any items queued up. This should be a Tango and a Salve. 100 and something. You can maybe wait for your Wraithband component. Where is Wraithband? How much is this? 210. So if you had queued this up, you would have been ready for it. I would prioritize the regen over the Wraithband because you're not really hitting him a bunch. And your base damage is 63. His base damage is 55. And you eventually get Boundless Strikes. So he shouldn't be able to either deny you or take last hits from you without using a spell. And this is kind of why you take another Toxin first. Somehow he gets level 2. I like that you're using it to secure the last hit on the range creep while hitting your opponent. Dragon creep aggro. I think this is a mistake because you have 2 range creeps. So rather than trying to get these last hits, you start in the river and you start hitting him. Because right now, if we look at Viper's perspective, he's standing within the creep aggro range. If I change the vision player broadcaster fog for Radiant... let's do fog for dire, and then we can see what your creeps see. So right now, he's in vision of your creeps. So instead of playing passively here, you have more creeps than he does. And if he starts hitting you, the creeps start hitting him back, and you have Jingu and Boundless. And then you hit him, you get Jingu, and then you hit him with the Boundless Strike. Sure, it's only level 1 Jingu, but this is why we buy more regen. Because this isn't a lot of HP steal or life steal, and there's only one hero here, so you're not going to get a whole bunch of HP off of this, so you do need to be able to regen back. The other problem is he's slowing us now. If I go back to both teams, he's slowing us now, and if you're going to trade with this guy in the river, you plant the Ironwood branch, you eat your Tango, and you keep hitting him. But the problem is you hit him like twice in the past minute instead of several times. And if you had just been hitting him constantly whenever you had more creeps than he did, then you would have Jingu and been healing up some of that, and he'd have less HP. He also only has 2 Tangos. Usually what happens when you do pooled Tangos is you finish your Wraithband component, or you just go hard like regen. And it's a matter of how much base damage you think you have against your opponent, but going this half-ass kind of build where you have the Ironwood branches and the circlet, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The other problem that I want you to notice is I think you have Wand queued up at the first minute. And if you were against Bristle, that'd be great. If we look at your Luna in the next couple minutes, she's got a Wand, and eventually she gets 13 Wand charges, and I look back at you, and you only have 3. So the Wand was a complete mistake. I understand wanting to go for the stick for regen, but it just doesn't work against Viper, because he casts another Toxin once every Where is it? Another toxin once every 14 seconds, whereas Bristleback casts Quill Spray every 3 seconds. Big difference. Sometimes it's good against Luna, and it's really good against Shadow Demon. I don't know why anyone on their team didn't pick up a stick. Like, if Bristle had a stick instead of like the Clarity and the Mango, he'd be fine. If you use it against Luna and you buy like Raindrops, Luna just doesn't kill you. So it doesn't make sense why at least Silencer didn't have... Okay, he's got one queued up, but he should have started with this instead of the Clarity and the Mango. And like the Fairy Fire. Because I don't know how much damage he's doing extra. It's only 52 plus 2. Not a big deal. The wand would have meant he'd be full HP. Or close to it. Doesn't make sense. Same problem with you. Usually you start with like stick, 3 tangos. Like if you were going safe lane, stick, 3 tangos, and then a circlet or slippers, depending. But you don't normally go both circlet, slippers, and Ironwood branch components, unless you're dealing with something like a tiny and you need raw HP. But then this isn't enough. So it starts to get a little bit more complicated. But in this lane, I know you need to start with boots, and you need to go for first blood, and you need to block your creeps. If you can't do all 3, prioritize blocking creeps rather than going for the first blood, unless you know for sure that you're going to be able to kill people. Like, you have double stun off lane and you group with them and we get to kill somebody. But for now, like, you use boots and you use it to chase this guy out of lane for the first 1 to 2 levels. And then you get Boundless Strike, maybe, to secure the range creep, or hit him, or stun him. I don't care. But the problem is, this is just trying to do too much, but it doesn't do anything at all. And now we learn too late that Nether Toxin kills us. This is a passive. Nether Toxin applies a break. Break disables passives. So now we don't get any healing. We don't get any whatever that is. I like you trying to use Mischief. It's a timed thing. It works better against projectile stuns. You can use it when trading, but there's better heroes to learn how to do this. I would say start by playing Puck a little bit, just in unranked, and you get used to dodging. You can also try Ember. Those heroes have something very similar, and it's more forgiving. This is a 2-frame. It's either 1 frame or 2 frame window where you can be physically immune to damage. But it doesn't work against high attack speed heroes, at least in terms of saving yourself. But it does let you trade against people, because one attack, when you start to get 80, 90 damage, can be the difference between life and death. But he's got a slow that doesn't help you. And notice you have tangos that weren't being used, and it doesn't matter because he just chases you down. This wand isn't going to do you anything if this was like boots, or even just an orb of venom. Instead of 410 gold, I think it is 450. It could be an orb of venom, and you could have maybe hit him 1 or 2 more times. I don't think orb of venom is the correct choice here, but wand is the wrong choice for sure. It looks like you're following the guide, because you're taking 2 points and 2 points here. You don't want to lane here at all. No, I would be fine if you took only 1 point of Jingu and started putting points into Tree Dance. Boundless Strike gives you a little bit more damage, but without Jingu, it's not really useful. So maxing Tree Dance is a lower cooldown. It's better for clearing creep waves, and if you have like 3 points in both, then you can clear a creep wave in 1 shot and then move off to the jungle where you just start hitting it in the downtime you have. And you're just missing last hits. Uncontested last hits. That's the practice thing.
Under attack.
Drag the enemy creeps outside of this. I know that you're going for the rune, but you need to drag it out of the nether toxin.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Next problem is your ward runs out, and I think you remember this, but the silencer rotated over to your lane as the ward ran out. So you should have a ward queued up. There's 2 wards here. One of them usually goes to the safe lane. One of them normally goes to the mid laner. Now you're blind. There's the silencer. He's walking over towards you. I don't know why this didn't get dewarded. That should have been dewarded immediately. And then you're silenced. And then here's the problem. You hit him twice, right? And then you stun. Or you hit him once and then you stun. And now you're here without a stun. But if you just stood up and start hitting this Viper while you're under the tower, he doesn't kill you. Because he needs to run away, and then you get Jingu, and then you can stun him, and he takes a couple shower shots. Like, he can't fight you under tower, even if he's a level ahead of you, and there's a person here. You don't want to take this 2v1, and the goal here is just survive, and once you've burned your survival tool, because you have the ability to actually turn this if somebody TPs, because you have the lifesteal, and you have the crit, and the bonus damage from Jingu. You just need to get the Jingu, and then hit 1 to 2 heroes. 3 Jingu points. If you had just not used your stun and waited for this guy to show up, you could have actually killed at least 1 or 2. But didn't happen. Oh well. This is kind of a mistake. The creep wave isn't pushed into his tower when you take that, and that's partially because you died. It would have been a lot better if you didn't die, but before taking a rune you want to push in the wave. Because now if we watch from Viper's perspective, I know you get this kill, but the moment you show bottom here, all he has to do is push the wave out really fast. There's a catapult, which can kill your tower. He just kills your tower if you're not paying attention. But he's not noticing. He's very confused. And then he's not even paying attention to when you come back. And then you have Jingu when you're coming back and he just dies. It's very, very dumb. And he doesn't even have vision. So if you just put wards, you're better than this Viper, and pay attention to the map. And then Axe dies somehow. Oh well. Right now Viper's dead, so you can actually save the mana from this. Player perspective, free camera. If we right click on one of the enemy heroes anywhere on the map, then it pulls these creeps into tower range, and then the creep wave dies much faster, and we don't have to use Boundless Strike. You didn't level your farming skills, and you're hitting a small camp while Viper's getting free last hits. It's good. Silence is rotating over to try and kill you, so you're in this creep camp. But this is inefficient because you don't farm it fast enough. You don't have any farming speed items. I know you don't want to lane against this guy, but this is why you don't max Boundless Strike and Jingu and take no points in Tree Dance because now you can't push the wave fast enough, and now you can't farm these camps fast enough, and this Jingu is just doing nothing for you because it doesn't work on creeps. Maybe 1 point in Jingu, and then you have 3 points in Tree Dance, and then you take your ultimate if you need it. And then we get silenced, and then they kill us. No, they don't kill us. Okay. Eat your tango. And this is why Viper's a counter, because you're not getting the lifesteal off the Jingu when you're hitting him, and you're standing in the whatever it is, in the Nether Toxin. When we're talking about itemization, if there's anything that's going to stop you from getting Jingu plus Boundless, you need to buy that first. So I wouldn't mind if you queued up BKB as a first item. I wouldn't mind if you queued up, I don't know, something that gets you out of Nether Toxin, like a Force Staff, because it builds into Glepnir. I don't mind if you go like Silver Edge to disable like Bristleback's passive or Viper's passive, but then you end up going Echo Saber, and it doesn't, like, it gives you some okay stats, but now that it doesn't work with Wukong's command, it's not really a good pickup from Monkey King unless you really need the slow and you really need the like 2 hits from the Echo Strike to get your Jingu off. But right now it doesn't really help you. You still kind of die anyway. Like, BKB would have been great. If you don't really want to fight anybody, you can go first item Aghanims, and you can skip like the farming speed item because you're not a position 1. You just need the Aghs to be able to like stand up and fight somebody, and then you need the BKB to not die to Viper and the Silence. We can deal with the Tusk, we can deal with the Weaver later. You just kind of stay away from these guys, but the global Silence and the Nether Toxin are just going to kill you. I would say probably Aghanims, BKB, Silver Edge would be your items, but those start to look like position 1 items and not position 2 items, which is why Monkey King in this situation just doesn't feel like the pick to me. Typically when you go Monkey King, you want early game tempo items, things like Witchblade that has a slow, gives you extra attack speed. It's not quite the same as Echo Saber, but this applies to your monkeys, whereas Echo Saber does not. So this would be a more consistent item, especially because you can't walk up. So Echo Saber means I'm going to walk up and I'm going to start hitting them, and I'm going to get Jingu that way. Witchblade says I'm not going to hit them, I'm just going to make my monkeys stronger. And the attack speed works for you, helps you farm a little bit. The intelligence gives you some mana, you get some armor, so you get some physical reduction. But the primary benefit of going something like Witchblade on Monkey King means your monkeys are stronger. And like the monkeys have a set attack speed, but giving them more attack and giving them a slow will give you a lot more benefit. Like Scotty gives all of your monkeys a BKB piercing slow. So now if anybody tries to fight you and then they realize, oh, I don't want to fight this Monkey King, now they can't run away because the monkeys are just hitting them. Basher gives you a disable, so you don't actually have to use Boundless Strike to deal with that. Maelstrom and Mjolnir and Glepnir all work with your monkeys, so your monkeys get the Chain Lightning proc. Aghs basically just lets you 1v1 somebody, and you sit there and you hit them, and then you get 2 or 3 monkeys also hitting them. It triples your damage when you start fighting somebody 1v1, as long as they aren't trying to like run away. But it also works as a farming item because you can hit a camp once or twice, a monkey spawns, and then the monkey will kill the camp for you, and then you can just move on. So it is a good farming speed item. Silver Edge means you actually get to engage on people. I don't think you'd want this as a first item because until you get BKB, you can't really do anything. You might grab a Shadow Blade to be able to walk past people. Maybe you take a 1v1. against somebody like the Silencer. But I wouldn't want to 1v1 any of these guys. And Tusk is probably not going to be by himself. So I would use it to try and start cutting creep waves if I did get a Shadow Blade. Like Shadow Blade, Aghanims, and then BKB, and then finish the Silver Edge. That would have been the best itemization you could go for. But in a normal Monkey King mid game, you would look for slows or armor reduction, because Witchblade gives you the slow, like I said, and then the Deso plus Orb of Corrosion, which works really well as a laning item because it gives you additional slows that work with your monkeys. You have minus 10 armor, and if we start looking at enemies' armor, 4, 7, but he's standing under tower, so it's technically 6, or I'm sorry, 9, 7, 7, and you can get Deso if you rush it first item. Let's look at your net worth, because you're not doing terrible, but you're not doing great. 35,000 if you were rushing this as a first item, you get it around 10, 12 minutes, something like that. You can have better last hits. Like Viper's not doing that great, even though he's technically got a free lane, because he's not shoving the wave fast enough. Instead of 378 at 10 minutes, you can have like 400, 450, something like that, if you start hitting creep waves. Why? Oh, okay. I don't know why that worked, but okay. So one of the tricks that you can learn on Monkey King is you can cancel the Primal Spring, and if you don't need the slow to be able to kill somebody, you just need to catch up to them for a Boundless Strike, or you need to get like one last hit of Jingu. The 2 seconds of channeling time for the Primal Spring, they're just going to get away. So instead of doing that, you hop on the tree, you cast Primal Spring, and then you right click. And then Monkey King just immediately jumps off the tree, and it looks like the animation goes off for Primal Spring, but none of the effects go off. But it gives you this distance that you need to be able to catch up to them to hit a Boundless Strike or hit your last point of Jingu or whatever you need. Tree Dance, the slow is good, but it's not usually the difference between killing them and not killing them. It's good for as an initiation if you have something like not an arrow, something like a hex or a shackles or something that lets you set up the Primal Spring on a single target. Or if you know, for example, the enemy's doing something in lane that looks stupid and you're going over to gank, then you can set up a Primal Spring when they're going for a last hit. But the best choice you have for setup is your Willow's Bramble. Where am I?
Excellent.
If they get called, they're basically dead. You don't need to Primal Spring them. Now you have no mana, and you don't have your survivability tool. That was a mistake. Normally, instead of doing this, you would Tree Dance and then Primal Spring the wave and then hit it, and then you run. But in this method, you're going to die. The other thing I want to look at, you have 3 magic stick charges, and right now Luna has 5, but that's because Luna used them. Uh-oh, game crashed. Okay. Game crashed. There we go. Go back a little bit. Luna died.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
14 stick charges in 4 minutes, and you have 1. So this is the difference. This is why you don't buy Magic Wand against Viper. Might help a little bit, but it's not something that you need to do. The extra gold from the recipe would have been better spent on something else. So this contributes to you to missing some of the timings that you need to be able to hit to actually be effective. Go back to 10 minutes.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
You don't have enough mana. The Sage's Mask is not making up for your mana deficiency. Mango's Clarities, more mana regen. This is not okay. Because now you can't do anything. I'd even be fine if you went back to base and gave this lane to your Shadow Demon, but Shadow Demon's defending this lane. Give it to your Willow or something. But right now you're useless. This is a silencer. This is the one guy you could probably kill. As long as he used like global. How long is it? 4 seconds. Like you can trade with this guy and hit him, and if he globals you just leave, because I don't think he can kill you. Last word, enchants a target, providing vision and damage and silences if they cast a spell, or if the enchantment timer expires, it deals extra damage based on difference in intelligence. Okay. You're probably not going to kill him, but you're probably not going to die either. You got really close. But you don't have any mana.
Radiant structures are fortified.
I'd be okay if you just let that guy have the rune, or if you were tree dancing to push it out faster. That would have been better, and then you could have grabbed the rune yourself. But right now you don't have any mana, so you can't tree dance, you can't boundless strike. You need like 200 mana every like 20-30 seconds. So this isn't effective. This is 7 mana or 1 mana every 20 seconds. More or less. And you need, instead of 20 mana, you need 10 times that amount. So Sage's Mask by itself isn't good enough. I know it's building into the Echo Saber, but you missed your BKB timing.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower.
One of the things that I guess kind of sounds weird that I should explain, Clarities are 50 gold, and if you use them, you can, even just to clear a small camp, that's 10 gold extra that you wouldn't normally get, and it gives you extra HP, or extra levels that you can then use to farm faster. If you use this on any other camp, it's more than paying for itself. Right now we're just sitting around not doing anything. I'm very hesitant to have you jump in vision to a tree, because if they have a Tango or a Quelling Braid, you are stunned for like 3 seconds. It doesn't tell you how long you're stunned, but it is a significant amount of stun. Damage, cooldown. Yeah, you're stunned for a long time. You don't want to tree dance in anywhere that enemies might know where you are. And this is why you want to set up from Dark Willow. Right now it would have been great if you had been ready for it, but it's too late. And now we need to get away. This kind of is where mischief comes in, where if they can barely hit you and you have phase boots and you can dodge 1 instance of damage, then you can tree dance away. But this is above your skill level. Don't worry about it. I think it's better for you just not to commit to fights that you're probably not equipped for. Like, you have no items, and you're fighting around the mid tower with no vision. This is a bad fight. Even if all of your teammates are here, you're just going to die. So rather than you do that, you let them do that, and then you can kill them. But for now, you're lucky that you got away. This is why I wouldn't pick Monkey King into a Weaver. I don't think you saw him in your draft, But Monkey King against the Weaver, you just don't kill him because you don't want to use Boundless Strike to initiate onto him, because now you don't have the damage to kill him, and you don't have the ability to trap him once you get your Jingu. And his time-lapse applies a strong dispel, so you can't even root the guy. You can't root him, you can't... I think you can silence him, but you can't apply, like, some stuns that will normally kill people. It doesn't work for you.
Radiant's top tower is under
So you need a silence, you need additional stuns like a basher or abyssal. You are too low to be doing this. This is a bad fight. You need to be healing up. You should be either hitting a creep, getting your items. This guy, he's level 7, and we look at his net worth. He's there 5, right? Okay, he's there 4. 7 times, is it 30? It's like 210 plus 120. He's worth 300 gold, and you have the risk of dying. And then you die to Tusk. You don't die to Tusk. Okay. No, don't go in.
Dire's bottom tower.
Somehow you're not dead.
Dire's structures are fortified.
A golden thread.
I'm so confused.
Radiant's middle tower
They
is
give
under
you a
attack.
tango. This is so funny.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
That's the other trick that you can use. If you manage to get Jingu, but you're not strong enough to actually fight the enemy, then you just back off and hit a camp, and it usually heals you up. But it's not going to work for you. That stun was okay. It maybe saved your Luna. This is a mistake. You don't want to boundless on top of 2 heroes when your teammates are too far away to save you. And you didn't have Boundless Strike. So this is why you don't normally want to start with Boundless, because even if you get Jingu, it's not enough life steal to be able to survive. If you had Boundless there, instead of trying to save your Luna, you might have been able to turn it. But I appreciate you trying to save your Luna. It just would have been better for you to leave, because you don't have your tools to survive.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
If you had maybe more HP, it would have worked, but you were half HP when that fight started. So prioritize
Is under attack.
regen. Even at this point in the game, I don't mind you buying a healing salve or going back to base. Or just not fighting them. That would have been good too.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
You TP'd in, and then you stunned. Now you don't have your survival tool again. And your teammates can't really follow up on your stun anyway. There's no point in you stunning if they're just going to walk away. It'd be better for you to hold your stun and sit here while they try and trade with you than trying to catch up to them and use your stun to catch up to them, because now you don't have any damage to kill them anyway. Like, you're looking around the map. Viper just kills you because you don't have BKB, so we don't fight Viper. This is the trick that you need to start learning. When you're looking around that map, you say, okay, Silencer was here. Start farming towards the Silencer instead of sitting mid against the guy that's going to kill you. Usually Monkey King can kill a Silencer. You just do enough damage, and you have a passive and physical damage, and he can't really run away from you, even if... like, as long as you're a higher level than him, he doesn't kill you, especially because this is a position 4 Silencer, I think. I don't know. It's a support Silencer, is what I'm getting at. You as the mid laner should have 3, 4, 5 levels on this guy. You're level 9. He's catching up to you because you've messed up several times. So this is a problem. Bad Wukong's command, you tossed it and then broke it. I'm sure you recognize that. But you don't want to sit in the Nether Toxin. So nothing you do is any help to your team. So this should be a BKB. Okay, you managed to kill him because your willow roots. That guy was by himself.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Okay, swap that in. Tracking items, cool.
Dire's top tower is under
So
attack.
typically if you're trying to rush Ags, you get it by 20 minutes so that you can actually start doing stuff. But this delays your Ags and then it delays your BKB and you never get your BKB. Or you barely get it. And by that point the game is over. TP and vision, so he runs away. You get the kill anyway, that's fine.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
You don't need to show up to every fight if you're not in the area. I think what you need to learn how to do is look for places where you're strong. And if you see that Bristle is standing next to Silencer, maybe you're not the strongest because you can't really kill Bristle. Because they just kind of chase you down, they silence you, and then suddenly you can't boundless strike to save yourself. But if Silence is by himself or Tusk is by himself, maybe you can do it. Or if you see, oh, Weaver's standing next to Axe, but Axe hasn't shown on the creep wave yet, we can go for Weaver because Axe has hard disable, and then we can kind of kill him before he uses his recall, something like that. But you kind of just wandering around and then walking into 4 heroes, and then you see, if I go back, they showed mid, and then you walk up here. I've done this a couple times where I'm just like, oh, they're going at this tower, and my team is in the area, and then I walk through a dark jungle, and then I just run into 3 heroes. So it's not amazing, but instead of walking towards this tower right now, let's just see that they showed. Go back a little bit further. So this was the fight, and you say, I'm going there, and then Tusk is there. And then we see these guys on the map. And then Tusk and Weaver come up and kill us. The reason I don't like you running into Tusk, he's got a BKB piercing disable. He's got a slow. He can chase you. And then if he's hit you once and he shards, you don't escape because you can't primal spring out. Especially if you don't have vision. If you see them start grouping up, it's better to either hide in the trees. They play a free camera. It's better to go in the trees over here than to walk into the jungle where you have no vision. And then if they show, then you can either TP, or you can go up and start hitting this tower, or you can move over this way and cut the creep wave. 59, you'd hit the creep wave right here. Now they don't have a tier 2 creep wave. And then you have 1, 2, 3 people that can de-push this lane before the backdoor protection goes off. And now they don't get this tower. And then you're free for the next 30 seconds to farm whatever creep camp you want. And then you show up here again at 30 seconds and you cut the creep wave. But you as a hero are not strong right now, which means you don't just walk up to a tower and defend it unless you know that they're going to like all die. But right now they're sitting 5 heroes ready to go at you guys, and you have been behind. You are 1k behind. If you lose this next fight, you start to lose the game. Everybody's got their ultimate, so maybe it works, but you don't have BKB, you can't actually fight them. And if you put monkeys up, they're not strong because they don't have any items. So this is a mistake. You need to be cutting waves instead of running through the jungle to try and defend this and then running into 3 heroes. Whoops. And you TP in. And this is the other problem that I had with Monkey King. You use your ultimate, and they just kind of don't care. And then you die anyway. So rather than everybody feeding here at 20 minutes, you can just make sure they don't take your tower and cut the creep wave every 30 seconds. And then they have to TP back, and then once they TP back, you can TP into the fight 5v4 and win the fight. But right now, if it's just Viper and Tusk, you die. If it's Viper plus Silencer, you die. If it's, I don't know, Weaver plus, like, 1v1, neither of you guys kill each other immediately, so it depends on who's in the area. But I'm pretty sure Weaver's got double your net worth right now. Okay, maybe not double, but he's definitely an item ahead. And then you're spam pinging your team, get vision, but like you knew they were here.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire are scanning.
Your Willow can depush just fine. You don't need to TP here. You TPing means now you can't TP out if Bristle starts gooing you. Sure, maybe he might die chasing you, but like you dying means you don't get Ags ever this game. You still don't have items and you're fighting. And now he goos you and then you die and you don't have TP. TP means that you don't die to slows. And they don't have any hard stuns except for Tusk, who is up top. No hard stun. No hard stun. No Atos. You should have an Atos. No Yules. Okay, he's building Yules. Fine. I don't know why he needs Yules. And now Axe feeds. You don't need to fight them if you're weak. Just finish your item and then you can fight them. And arguably, at 23 minutes, Ags just isn't enough. Like, if you can get an 18-minute Ags and then start a damage item, that would be fine. But right now, you just don't have anything.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Structures are fortified.
And now we're hitting creeps, but this should have been done 15 minutes ago. Free creep wave by a tower. Enemy showed. That's a bug. One of the things that you're not doing... So the way you're hitting it is like you have a Battle Fury, but you don't have Battle Fury. You need to Tree Dance and then Boundless Strike, and it kills the entire wave. So we come over here, we Tree Dance, we take this, we Tree Dance back, and you kind of have the same camera problem the Viper did. You're not looking to the edge of the screen, so you don't know if there's somebody sitting right here. But Tree Dance, Primal Spring, Boundless Strike, then run. It takes about the same amount of time, it looks like, but it's safer. Because you can do it from out of vision and you're gone in like 2 seconds. Save your spells for the creep wave because this is dangerous. The small camp over here is not dangerous. If I see this and I have a smoke, None of them have smokes, but if I see that I have a smoke, I just tell my team to run at you, because you die before your teammates come to help you.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
This is our moment, chicks.
Radiant are scanning. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Nice try.
So if I watch that back a little bit slower, it takes you 2 seconds to be able to show up there, and the slow doesn't matter because he just kind of dies anyway. Slower speed. We realize, oh, we're still chasing the silencer. Okay. Tree dance 1, tree dance 2, 1, 2 seconds. But instead of the 2 seconds it takes to land here, you could already have been here. And then you have Boundless Strike ready to go. So if he even gets close to out of escaping, you can still stun him. And notice this guy was a support, and he's higher level than you, or almost higher level.
Bury me with my glaives.
Nice try.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
You are the mid laner, and their supports are higher level than you. Hero level.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Entire enemy team is dead, okay. Could still be pushing waves a little bit faster. Uh, 53. Okay, I don't mind. But it could have been another creep wave, and then you could have stacked this one. So notice you have monkeys here. These guys do how much damage? Scepter soldier spawn interval, soldier duration is 12 seconds. Attack speed is 1 per second. Duration. You get 1 or 2 of these guys. They do 133. The creeps have something like 400 health. You get them pretty low, and then the monkeys do the last like 2 or 3 hits. Even though you have Ags, 28-minute Ags plus Echo Saber isn't going to help you win this fight. Your Luna's not there. Luna doesn't have ultimate. You don't have your ultimate. This is not a good idea. Oh, okay, you have your ultimate coming up, but I don't think your ultimate has been useful at this point, even though you won the last fight. There's your setup. And Axe dies.
Now,
Radiant's top tower is
you
under
had your
attack.
stuff, but you still have to fight.
As long as you get Jingu and they have Glimmer, it doesn't matter because you can stun them. And you don't actually have to see them to stun. You don't need 3 heroes that push creep waves sitting mid. There's a creep wave here, there's a creep wave here. You could have been running immediately to a tower. This is wasted time. You're splitting XP with your other teammates. You don't want solo XP when you're this, like when you're behind like this and you have an advantage where they're dead. This could be a tower. Could be a solo kill on the Tusk. Where's Tusk? He's level 17, so you're not strong enough to really solo kill him, but he can't kill you, maybe? No, he can kind of kill you.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You could have gone for Roche together if you were going to group up. And there's your setup. You didn't Boundless, but I guess you were saving the Weaver. Or trying to hit the Weaver. Yeah. And that's the problem with using Boundless Strike first. Even though it kept the Weaver down, it doesn't kill him because now you don't have the damage to do anything. Use your wand, use your wand, use your wand. 21, you die. It's 300 something health. What if it lets you try and get away? If you're gonna buy a wand, use the charges. Otherwise, it's 3 attributes. This could be, I don't know, another Wraith Band or something.
Behold!
A golden thread.
And now this is where the game ends, kind of. That's experience. This is gold. And then they just get ahead and ahead and ahead, and now you can't do anything. No worth. The map is completely dark. Very nice. I don't know why he's taking Ancients.
Dire's bottom tower is under
I
attack.
guess he's... So, as a mid laner, you shouldn't be taking farm from your other teammates unless you need it, and you kind of need it. But at the same time, he needs it, and he's weaker than you are. So if anyone's going to take farm, it has to be you, because Axe can't show on this creep wave. So instead of stealing his Ancients, like, you think they're your Ancients, which is why you did it, but instead of taking Ancients when the Axe is behind in farm and can't show on a creep wave, you need to do it. And this is why you need that BKB ahead of time, and why you need to not be taking stupid fights at, I don't know, 15 to 20 minutes when the actual fights that you need to win are like 20 to 40 minutes as a position 1 or a position 2.
Dire's structures
And now your Axe can't come back into the game.
is under attack.
Because you're saying, ah, man, I don't want this Axe farming. He needs to be doing something. But he literally can't do anything. He just dies. He didn't use Boundless Strike or Primal Spring. Okay, I don't mind you farming this camp. But somebody needs to be pushing this wave. If it's your Willow, that's great. If it's your Luna, it's a little iffy because Luna doesn't have... Luna's got BKB and Manta. Luna could just send an illusion down there. I don't know why this creep wave isn't pushed into their tower. You guys are sitting mid and going for a fight. This fight does nothing, but you killed Silence because he's dumb.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Okay, even if your entire team comes, the only person that can help you kill this Weaver is Axe. And we don't know where Axe is. Axe is here, but he's not immediately ready. Weaver's just gone. If we look at the map, Weaver is just gone. He moves fast. So unless you know where he's going to be ahead of time, he's gone before you actually do anything.
Radiant are scanning.
And then Axe shows up. It's like, where'd the Weaver go? It's like, well, I guess there's nothing to do, so I'm going to hit creeps. And you're hunting the Weaver, but the only person that can actually help you kill him is Axe. Now you're invading the triangle, but you guys aren't strong. You don't actually have any items. This is why I was saying you needed BKB, because without the ability to stun, you don't have the ability to heal. And again, 20 wand. Not used. Wasted item slot. Team wins the fight anyway, maybe? And nope.
Radiant's top tower
Axe
is
just
under
dies.
attack.
Okay. Because you stole his ancients. Everybody's dead. Game is over. 10 more minutes. This 10 minutes is them taking jungle farm away from you guys. Now they're too far ahead for you to actually fight them. And you are content just trying to fight them instead of cutting waves. Learn to cut waves as Monkey King. Like, you can tree dance all the way across the map. They can't see you until you show on the creep wave. And you can primal spring, boundless, and then leave. And then do it again somewhere else in 20 seconds. And just continuously do that. And they can't find you. They can't catch you unless they have like a BKB piercing stun. And if you take the Aghanim shard, then they can't catch you because it reduces the cooldown for tree dance. And then you just go across the entire map and nobody can deal with you. So if we're just going to speed this up 4 times speed. And now they got vision here. Now they're stealing your ancients. Now they take Roshan. And then I'm pretty sure they're just going to run it down mid. Right? Free camera, player perspective.
Structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Now you're stuck in base.
Dire's bottom
If this
tower is
happens
under attack.
and you don't have your item, you're pretty close. I'm fine with you sitting here rather than trying to push out. But if you were not even close, I would say you smoke, and whatever lane they decide to push, you cut the wave on that line. Rather than you sitting here in base, because you have a 20-second D-push, but it doesn't stop the backdoor. So instead of doing that, you're better off like under their tower, threatening to take their tower. I like to do it as Luna because Luna just shreds their base, but she doesn't have a way of escaping like you do. So you should be cutting waves.
Dire's structures are fortified.
And then she tries to push the wave out and she immediately dies. See, even though you tried to de-push it, the point is to enable backdoor protection, and the creeps got to your tower anyway, it doesn't matter.
Dire's top tower
And you died in your ultimate, and then they just run it down mid and continues to kill you.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack. Dire's middle barracks.
So point still stands. You don't get your BKB, and that's GG. If you got your BKB, maybe the fight would have turned the other way, because you wouldn't get silenced. You wouldn't have to worry about another toxin. But this Echo Saber delayed your BKB by 20 minutes, 15 minutes. If you had gotten this, how much does this cost? Echo Saber. Where is Echo Saber? 2,500 gold. And you almost had your Black King bar. You were like 200 gold away. And if this was anything else, like this does nothing for you. If this was 2,500, 2,600, even if it was a Wish's Blade, you probably would have gotten more out of it because the slow from the Wukong's command would actually do something instead of them just walking away because you have the Echo Saber. Or if you had an Orchid, even though it's more expensive, you would have been able to kill Weaver. And now Weaver isn't top net worth by 1,000 gold or more. Is that 10,000? No, that's almost 10,000 gold. Like 2 items, 2 big items. He's got a Scotty, a Daedalus, a BKB, and a Mjolnir. And this guy has BKB Manta and like small items. Since they nerfed the status resistance from what's it called? Where is it? From Satanic, the extra damage isn't that good. Like the lifesteal is nice, but the status resistance was what it was really known for. You would buy status resistance plus like a Sanjin Rasha or status resistance with the halberd, and then suddenly with the BKB, you don't get stun locked and then you kill everybody. Doesn't mean it's not core on Luna. I'm just saying Luna as a hero has gotten nerfed because they nerfed Satanic. Scotty would be probably better. Luna doesn't really build Silver Edge. Honestly, I would say go for the magic build because they don't really have a whole lot of like resistance. Bristleback built carry. So funny. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Just to recap, we look back at Monkey King. If I go back, this sound is annoying. This is not the item build against ranged heroes. This is not the starting item set that you would go against ranged heroes. You want to opt for earlier timing items. Things like Witch's Blade, Orchid, Deso. Preferably Deso, maybe MKB if you're going for a later timing as a mid laner. Shadow Blade is okay because it allows you to engage on them and then fight somebody and then get out. If you have a reliable setup, you can use Primal Spring. Like with the Willow, she roots people and then you Primal Spring and then they're slowed and then you can get Jingu off. But in most cases, you're probably not going to get a Primal Spring off on people that are moving around the map because they just kind of wander out of the right area. But the thing to learn from this one is you can cancel the Primal Spring so that you get extra distance when you dismount the tree and you don't have to wait the 2 seconds to dismount. So if you're trying to escape or you're trying to catch up to somebody, you can tree dance, cast Primal Spring, and then right-click the ground, and instead of the Primal Spring going off, you just jump off the tree at the location where the Primal Spring is going to go. Anything that is stopping you from getting the lifesteal and the crit from the Boundless Strike and the bonus damage from the Jingu Mastery, you need to solve that first, because if you don't, then you're just kind of walking around and not doing anything. The other problem is you have to decide whether or not Boundless Strike needs to be damaged or disabled. And technically, if you were even or ahead on this game, you have plenty of damage to be able to nuke down this Weaver or nuke down the Tusk or the Viper. The problem is you're not moving to a lane where that is happening. So right now we have a Shadow Demon. This guy is dead. And then the two nukers are not in the same place. And Luna doesn't have ultimate yet. So in terms of what you should be doing this game, if you're looking for a gank, you can use the runes to go over and maybe harass somebody, try and get a kill. If you check the regen, they have no regen and they're low on HP, then you can go for it. But in general, I would just say these heroes are hard to kill as Monkey King. You don't have the tools to really deal with the Bristleback on your own. I would just say wait for Luna to get 6, wait for Shadow Demon to get 6, and then you can go and actually kill somebody, and then you don't waste a bunch of HP regen. And then I would just say be farming your items with Boundless Strike and Primal Spring, and use this to push the lane much faster. So you show up, you Primal Spring, and then you Boundless, and then you walk away, and then you start hitting camps. And that's kind of why you build Maelstrom, because it's a cheap item for farming. But if you're a mid laner, it's kind of iffy if you also have a Luna who wants to farm for the first 15 to 20 minutes and you need to actually start fighting people. You need things that threaten to kill people, or at least enough to not die. So first item BKB would have been okay. It's not great, but going something like a Silver Edge doesn't let you kill anybody. Maybe helps you farm faster, so it takes the place of this Maelstrom. It's a little bit more expensive, but it would have done a very similar thing as the Echo Saber. It would just build into a Silver Edge, would have been nice. And then maybe you hit your BKB timing because you're not dying if you are actually farming the game. But if we look, you have about half the number of last hits to actually play Monkey King at 25 minutes, you should have somewhere around 200 if you're playing him as a 1. And you should have more kills or at least less deaths than this if you're playing him as a 2. So just try and look for high chance of succeeding plays. Like Falcon Blade is okay. HP and damage is good. Doesn't really help your monkeys. Witch's Blade, Deso, MKB, Maelstrom are good choices. Anything else? Radiance you can kind of think about if you're playing a position 1 because you put down Wukong's command with the Radiance and it increases the area extremely far. But it's not an amazing item for you if you're trying to kill people. So you would have somebody else playing like I'm going to kill you game. Things like that. In this game specifically, you needed BKB, Ags, Silver Edge, and then probably Abyssal. Otherwise, this Weaver just doesn't die. And this Bristleback just doesn't die. And the Viper just kills you. And then the Silencer just kills you. So just keep that stuff in mind. If you want to do another Monkey King replay, try not picking him into a difficult lane like this. Or if you do, try and skill differently and try and avoid this lane as much as possible. Long video, hope it helps. If you want, we can talk in the Discord. I'll post the link in the description. You can join, you can message me there. It takes me a little while to end the video because it's been a long video and my computer uses all the CPU. Hour and 20 minutes and it's dark. Whoa. See ya.